Hello and welcome. AHandinitFlo here again for EVE Online, and today we're going to talk a little bit about using skill injectors to train up a ship. So as you can see on the screen here, we have the Stabber fleet issue and a lot of red X's. So this is my alt character here, and that character cannot use this ship right now. Now I have a little bit of a need to use this ship. It's part of a bumping strategy which you can use by a neutral alt, shall we say. So I don't have the skills to access the ship, let alone the ones that are in there. As you can see here, I can't do any of the frigates. I've trained up to the Providence, but as you can see by the white lines as opposed to the shaded outlines, that's all I can do. I can do the shuttles, I can do the industrials. I can't even do the frigates in the MR. I can, however, do some of the frigates in the Minmatar. So that's a shorter train. It's less skill points to get up to those ships. So hence the choice of the Stabber fleet issue. So there's all the things that I need to get. Now this is going to be a little bit complicated here, but if you look at the requirements, I have some skills missing there, and my skill queue is empty right now. And so as you can see, these are the things that I need: the Minmatar cruiser, Minmatar destroyer, Minmatar frigate. On the frigate, you can see that I've already trained level 1, but I need 2 and 3 on that one. Okay, and the other two are dots, so you're going to see that I don't even have the skill books injected on those ones. So as you can see, just drag them down into your skill queue. And this one here, which is destroyer and cruiser, we'll see. And I can't put you see the red line that pops up there? It shows that I can't put it in. Okay, there you go. I had to put it in order. So I have to go with the next one there. Yeah, you see how if I try to drop it in the wrong place, it won't. See, it's red, and until it goes to the white, and that's where I can put it in. And then that shows you the line, right? And there we go. That should be enough. So in training those, which is a little over, I'm going to call it 20 hours, I can sit in the ship. But that doesn't mean that I can use the fittings on the ship. So now I'll look at the individual fittings one by one. So here I need cloaking 1. Now you'll notice the little blue book on the side, right beside the word cloaking. That means that I do not have that skill injected yet. So there you go. If you look on that, you can just get that to hover over. It brings up that little box. I can hit buy all, and I can buy the book here in JITA. Now, the reason I'm doing this in JITA is because I know that I can get all the skill books here, no problem. They will all be here, but they are probably a little bit more pricey. So if you have an issue with how much money you have and you're skilling up to something, generally if you're going to use a skill injector, money is not going to be an issue for you, or your wallet size, shall we say. I do keep a little eye that they're not really expensive, but in general what people do is they get the skill books from the NPC stations, they bring them into JITA, and then they price them up by 10, 15, 20%. So it's not a huge deal. Now I'm going to get this warning here because this character is not plexed, and I don't have a multiple character training certificate, so there is no training queue on this one. But I discovered an interesting thing, and we'll see this later. When I use the skill injector, it doesn't require me to turn on the training queue, and you'll see that when we get to that portion of the video in here. Now here we are looking at the expanded probe launcher. So I'm dragging the science, which I have, and you can see the astrometrics I don't have with the book, so we're going to buy that one. So hit buy all, buy it, go and pull up my inventory, and I inject that. I could also hit train to level 1 if I wanted, but I'm just doing the injection to show you exactly how it goes. Okay, so bring that back up, hit no blue book, and away we go. Okay, so that's in for that. All right, next item on the list is the cap rechargers, and that's going to have the energy grid, which is always good to have anyways if you're going to do any kind of serious flying around. Again, that's not required really for the industrials because there's really no major issues with the energy requirements on those ships. They're fairly easy to fit, just the low slots, so nothing that really consumes the capacitor or energy that the ships use, like guns and cloaking and all sorts of other things. So we need to get to level 3, so we're going to pull that down 3 times. There we go. And that's 1 and 2, and there goes 3. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so that one is done. Oops. Just checking on the length of the training queue there. We're a little over a day. So as I'm doing this, I'll let this go through. It's going to look for the warp drive there, and what we need on that. High-speed maneuvering, have to buy that book, so I'll hit buy all on the book. There we go, buy all. Grab that. Inject. Okay, there we go. So we need high-speed maneuvering and afterburner to 3. As you can see, you can just strictly open that dialog box and hit add to queue, and it adds it to the end. So that's another way to do it other than to drag it down. So 2 different ways, just a matter of, I think, preference at that point. When I first started, I didn't necessarily know the order in the mix, so that's why I was dragging them down, but now for the rest, it's just as easy to hit add to queue. And there we go, boom. Energy grid upgrade. We just need, we need 2 on that. Yeah, 1 and 2. Good, that one's done. And let's look at that one. And requirements. And we need astrometrics 2 on that and science 3. So that's done. And I'm not sure whether I grabbed science 3 off of that one. All right, so there we go. There's our queue. And we're just showing a little over a day. So now, on average, skill injectors will give you about 7 days worth of training on average. That's just the math on the numbers. So here I'm going to look for another ship. Okay, and this is just taking us up into battle cruisers, and so those are ships that could potentially want to fly or could have some use, and I see I'm partway, or will partway train into those. And this looks like an extra day. And that one, yeah, same sort of thing. So why not add in Cruiser 3 and Battle Cruiser 1 and 2. And then I can have another set of ships that I could potentially use with similar fittings for the ones that I've just trained up on. I'm not looking at the ship fits on the Hurricane side, but something that I may train up to. So we will look at those ones. I got to buy the Battlecruiser skill book. So again, same thing, hover over, oops, buy all. There we go. All right. Inject. Perfect. All right. And those are done. Don't know what that error was from. It says requires Omega upgrade. Further without, okay, I don't understand why, because it counts as Omega on here. There's no restrictions, so not sure what's up with that. Okay, so looks like we've got all our skills. I'll get that one extra I can see there, the skill in the Minmatar Battlecruiser. Okay, everything else is good. All right, now let's close that up. And we look here. Uh-oh, we're like 21 days or 28 days training. So I've done something wrong. And you can see by these long blue lines, they'll stand out right away. So what have I done? I've gone to Frigate 4 and Frigate 5, which are not required. So I just double check. Make sure I don't need that. So I can go back and look at my skill queue. There's the stabber. Oops, stabber fleet issue. There you go. I don't need 4s and 5s on anything. So we'll go back. Oops, and clear that out. Okay. Get rid of the ship tree. Bring my skill sheet back up again. And like I said, look at these long blue lines at the bottom here. Those are the long trains, right? That's Destroyer 5. We do not need that one, so I'm going to take that one out. And it's gone. And I see Cruiser 4 is long, and Frigate 5 is very long. It's 9 days of training right there, so take that one out. And there we go. We're just a little over 7 days. So get rid of Cruiser 4. And then we should be good here. So 7 days is about the maximum that the one skill injector will do. Now, that's just rough math, because you'll have to look at your skill injectors, because the further you go up and the more skills you have, the less you get from the skill injectors. So because this is a low skilled character, I will get the full maximum amount of points out of the skill injector. So as you can see, skill injectors are around $679 million right now. So on average, in general, 2 skill injectors per plex kind of thing. But if you think of it, if a skill injector does about 7 days and I get 2 of them for a plex, I'm only getting 14 days of training for the same amount of money I can get for around 30 days of training. So they're really not worthwhile from my perspective, unless you're in this situation where I need to train the ship up quickly to be effective at something. So it's really a timing issue. So it's the old time and money question that you want to look at. All right. Now, I saw the skill injector pricing was better in perimeter, so I'm going to go over there and pick up a skill injector, because as you saw in the market, The ones at Cheetah were another 40 or 50 million higher, so there's no need to pay for that if you can do one jump like this, and you'll see in a second. When we land at the perimeter station, here we go. I'm going to dock up, and we'll go get our skill injector over there at the Asbel. It looks like we're going to. There it is. And if you remember, we destroyed one of those in one of our other videos. Alright, so here we are, landed. We're going to pull up the market. Check the prices on the skill injectors. There you go. Buy this, it's in the station, $6.69. Boom. Want that. Now, we don't travel with these because they're fairly expensive and easy to sell, so we'll just inject right here. Ask you a lot of confirmation here. You want to get 500,000 skill points out of that. Again, that's because I don't have a lot of skill points in general in the character. Then it asks you to apply the skill points to the training queue. Now, if you look here, let's hope it shows that. Yeah, so that gives me my list. I'm going to hit yes to that. I get this warning again. I don't know why that pops up. And you notice down at the bottom there, I still have 62,000 unallocated skill points. And that's because I didn't require them all for this. Now I'm going to go back and check the fitting again, just to make sure I got everything. So we were going after that stabber fleet issue. And there you go. Look, I missed a couple things. So I missed something on the cap recharger and on the cloaking device. So ship is okay. Can fly it now. And I missed one energy grids upgrade. So let's add that to the queue. Okay, that one is done. Go back and look at this one. Whoops, I think that was one I already did. And all I have to do is I can just hit the apply skill points and I'll inject into that. Brings that training up, which is exactly what the skill points do for you. And there we go, and there's the cloaking device. Alright, and then on 47 minutes. Now, I could simply save those points and just wait the 47 minutes, which I probably should have done, but there's no training queue on this character, and that's the kicker. So my other character, the main one, is training. I could shut off the training queue on the main character and then turn it on this one, but then I lose the time on the other one. So this is a real balancing act between the time and money, and I don't want to pay for a full multi-character training certificate. And if you remember, I gave you the hint on that one before, that typically once a year, CCP will put out a deal where if you buy time, you can get an extra training certificate for your other character queue, which is how this one came into existence. And I'll do the same thing the next time that deal comes out. So we've skill injected. I have a few extra skill points available to do other things. Nothing that I need right now, so I'll just let them sit there. They won't go stale or anything like that. And I can now get into and fly effectively that stabber Navy issue. And again, the role of that ship is strictly bumping, neutral bumping. So if you're in a war and somebody's tethered or in a specific area or at a gate or something, you can use a fleet of those ships to bump that person in a certain direction or to stop them from going in another direction, depending on what is happening at the time. So that was something useful to be able to train up to for some of the war scenarios that we are in right now. Now, because I don't plex this account, I would log off my main, my AHandinitFlo, and log into this account and then use that chip specifically for this. And as you can see there, I get check mark. I've got my blue check marks all over, I'm going to buy this and outfit it. There you go. Buy all. And that all looks reasonable. Again, Jita's a little bit higher. I could have just put buy orders out on if I wanted to be a little bit cheap, but I want to make sure I have the ship available and ready to go in the next hour because there's something about to happen. There we go. Okay, so that is purchased. I am going to fit the ship. You'll see how this comes up and say, okay, everything's purchased. Takes a minute. Market's running a little slow in this last patch, so just have to sit with it. And you saw that there, that the purchases didn't finalize and come through right away. So bring up the simulation, hit the fit ship. All my stuff is in there, so it'll show me that it's valid, ready to go, and the checkbox is for fit rigs. And away we go. And it shows none now because I've used up all the materials to create that ship. So we go look in our hangar now. We should see our Stabber Navy issue in the ship hangar. There it is. Look at that, all ready to go. I'm going to get into that one. Like I said before, change the name right away. Helps to confuse the enemy. And call this one Oh My, because that's hopefully what you should say once you see me bounce against you. And what's that say? Alright. Oh, because I don't have enough power grids. So, lesson learned here. So, when I looked at the skills, it looked like you could fly the ship. When I looked at all the parts, it looks like you can use all the fittings on there. I can use this. You see, it shows, there you go, I can use it. Now, I thought, okay, so is there something not right here? So I looked at the tech level 1, see how much, power it's using, right? And you saw before when I hovered over it, our power grid went red. There's nothing really going to use that up, but that afterburner will, and that's part of the trick on this ship, is that's very fast. It depletes, but you're going to cycle it on and off. So you aim at the ship, turn it on, bump them, turn it back off again. So that's how you become sort of get that extra speed that gives you the mass on your ship. So here we go. That's the trick. Power grid management. I'm going to add the fourth in. Remember, I said I had extra skill points. Going to push those through for the 18-hour train, and away they go. Alright, still have 10,000 skill points left, not very much, but still. Now this, here we go, click on it, look at that, goes online, perfect. And that's the difference in one level of skill training and power grid management to allow you to fit something you normally wouldn't fit, or a tight fit on a ship like this. And so I think that's a good point. I will be making another video in the future and talk about the things you should train on and the way you should train your ship skills up, because I think that'll be very effective. Because some stuff you should get to 5, other stuff you can leave at 3 and 4 depending on the things that you do. But this one specific, this video here is strictly concentrating on the skill injector and shipping up to a very skilling up to a very specific ship, the Stabber Navy issue. But it gives you a good idea of what you can do with skill injectors. So if you have a lot of money, obviously, you can simply pay what you want, obviously, and skill up, which some people do. Now, having said all that, just because you skilled up and you have a ship doesn't mean you're going to win a battle. Okay, you have to also know what you're doing once you do fly it. So now this one I'm being, like I said, I'm training up to because it's for our core, and I will be given specific instructions on where and when to use it, so I don't have to worry about the overall training from that perspective. Alright, and that's it for this video. Fly safe.